So today we are looking at what the next action that you should take is. So this can be related to a specific goal that you're moving towards. This could be just in general in your life, depending on where you're at. So if you want to focus on a specific goal, particularly if you're feeling blocked somewhere, you're feeling a little stagnant somewhere, you can do that and you can use the answers that come up in this reading to apply that to whatever goal you're thinking of. Or you can get more general and just say, what next action should I take in my life right now? And then be open to the messages that come through. So either way, it's meant to offer you an option, especially if you're feeling blocked or stuck right now. Even if you're not, and you're just kind of like going with the flow and just having a good time, you can still obviously listen to this and see what comes up and be curious about what potential action you might consider taking towards your goals. But as always, no matter what, trust your intuition, have fun with it, and take what messages resonate with you, leave what doesn't, and trust that you'll know whether a message is for you or if it's not for you. So yeah, we're just going to look into something that can help you get moving in the right direction. And I set the intention, as always, that whatever messages come through will align with your highest good and the highest good of all. So whatever comes through is meant to, no matter how you take it, help you align with the direction that will ultimately be in your best interest. And that will vary for everyone. So with all that being said, I am going to do the brief centering exercise I always like to do at the beginning of these readings before I get into the reading breakdown and the group selection. So if you would like to stick around for that, if you're new here, that is just a brief meditation that we always do to kind of get in the zone, get you into your intuition, and also just it's a nice way to relax, and especially if you just need a few minutes for yourself today to just recenter. That's my goal with these centering exercises. So if you are joining me for that, then stick around. If not, the timestamps are always in the description or the pinned comment, so you can look down there and skip ahead if you would like to do that. But for those of you who are joining me, thank you for joining me for the brief centering exercise. And I ask that if you are currently driving or doing anything where you have to pay attention to what you're doing, that you skip this part and come back at a later time so that you can give your full attention to whatever it is that you need to be doing. But for those of you who are able to take a few minutes to just be with yourself and be totally focused on yourself, let's do it. So get comfortable, and whenever you feel ready, if you feel called to, you may close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. And at your own pace, take 3 deep breaths where you really just focus on the inhale and the exhale. And you may wish to imagine that with each inhale, you are breathing in love, healing energy, peace, relaxation, whatever feels good to you. And when you exhale, you're exhaling anything that you're ready to let go of, any stress, any tension, or just setting the intention that anything you exhale will be anything you're ready to let go of. It can even be a thought process or something someone said to you during the day, just anything you want to let go of. Just let that go with each exhale. And trust that as you continue to breathe and focus on yourself throughout this exercise, that you will become more and more relaxed and more present and centered in yourself, your own energy, and your intuition. Now, especially in this reading, as we were talking about actions that we can take, and we're also talking about potentially feeling stuck or a little stagnant in some areas of life, I don't want you to confuse stillness with stagnation. Just a few moments of stillness like this, where you're really sitting with yourself and you're really being present, can actually do wonders to move energy, to help you move in the right direction. But you must also realize that time spent in stillness, time spent even sometimes feeling stuck, or stagnant can be just as valuable as time when you're moving and doing and being active in the world. So if you find yourself in one of those times and you feel ready to do so, in this moment, I would like to ask you to feel grateful for this time. Feel grateful for that stuck feeling. Feel grateful for the pause. Feel grateful for the quote-unquote blockages. Whatever you perceive to be in your way, take a moment to appreciate it, if you can. Don't force it. Maybe set the intention that you do. You don't have to feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude, but as you settle into the practice, you might find that you actually do tap into a genuine sense of gratitude. And give yourself permission to feel grateful for anything that you perceive as being in your way. Give yourself permission to relax into that pause, to relax into uncertainty, to relax into doubt, to relax into confusion, and anything else that comes to mind that might feel as if it's in your way. And thank it. Say thank you. And appreciate what it's given to you, both the things that you can recognize consciously and anything that you might not be aware of that this state of stillness or stagnation is giving to you. Something that may become apparent to you in hindsight at some point. And sometimes there are also things that we get from life that we don't ever necessarily recognize or realize are valuable at all. And yet, if we can acknowledge that we don't need to be conscious of how something is helping us in order to receive that help, in order to receive the benefits of whatever we are experiencing, then we can trust that no matter what is going on, there is something here for us. And even just shifting into that mental state of acceptance and appreciation without even knowing why or how can feel wonderful and bring us so much peace. And that in and of itself can be an amazing catalyst to shift us into a state of deeper inspiration and more confident action going forward. So, with all that being said, if you feel called to, you may set the intention now to connect with the messages in this reading that align you with your most beneficial next action towards your goal or just in life in general, and with messages that may come up that give you some insight or understanding or confirmation that helps you shift even more into exactly where you're meant to be and help you feel confident that whatever stage you're at right now of your journey, you're in the right place, and wherever you're going next, you know exactly where you're going, or at least you know that your next step is the right one, even if you don't know where you're going yet. And if you would like to remain in meditation for a bit longer, feel free to pause the video now and come back when you feel ready. But for those of you who are ready to move on to the group selection and the rest of the reading, stick around and we are going to get right into that in just a moment. Okay, so thank you to everyone who joined me for the brief centering exercise, and thank you to anyone who did not. Either way, happy to have you here. So I'm just going to get into a bit of a brief breakdown of the reading and then also go through the groups and we'll be on our way. So first things first, as I mentioned in the intro, this is a reading about your next action. The next action you can take towards your goal or just in general in your life, depending on what you choose to focus on. And this is also just going to be whatever messages come through around that topic, right? Sometimes maybe it will point towards certain specific actions, but there might also be some other messages that come through that help get you moving in some way. My goal is just to help you feel more confident in where you're at on your journey, whatever journey it is, and also help you feel like you have some options in terms of where to go next, and to also just help get you out of a feeling of stuckness or stagnation, whether or not you take an action based on this reading or you feel more at ease and at peace to take things at your own pace and be open to what comes next. So regardless, I hope that this reading helps you feel more confident with where you're at and your goals. And I already pre-selected all of the cards for each group. So there's a few cards under these cards that I've laid out here that we'll just flip over and we'll see what messages we get. We'll see what picture they kind of form together. And then I will also pull a quote card or two from my quote card deck, the one that I made myself with all these quotes and images on them. And that will help close out the reading as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it pretty simple today. So I hope you are excited about this reading. I know I am. Let me just go through the groups. Obviously, we have 4 groups here, and I have these gemstones, crystals for you to choose from. For group 1, we have the Tiger's Eye crystal. For group 2, we have this hematite. For group 3, we have this blue opalite. And for group 4, we have the clear quartz crystal. So take all the time you need to decide on your group. Feel free to pause the video if you need to, and you can go down to the timestamps or the pinned comment, select your group, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi Group 1, if you selected the Tiger's Eye, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading, which is all about what next action you should take, either in service of a specific goal, if you have one in mind, or just in life in general. And we're just going to see what messages come through in these cards to help you get unstuck or help you decide on your next move, especially if you've been feeling like there's something I want to do, but I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. Help me, you know? So as always, use your intuition to discern the messages that are for you, messages that are not for you. Trust that you'll know what resonates with you and what doesn't. And even messages that don't resonate with you can help clarify the direction that you actually want to go in. So keep that in mind as you are listening to the reading and taking note of what feels like it's for you and what might feel like it's not. So with that being said, as I mentioned, I already have selected cards for you that we're just going to flip over. We're going to get messages from these cards, and then I'll pull some of my handmade quote cards as well to then close out the reading. But yeah, we're going to keep it simple today, and we're just going to get right into it. So let me flip over your cards, and let's see what messages you have. So we have 8th House Mystery. So it came out in reverse. So I am going to actually keep it in reverse. I did take reversals for this reading because, especially in your group, and we'll get into it, that felt especially significant. So then we have from the Raven's Prophecy Tarot deck by Maggie Stiefvater. Shout out to my boyfriend for getting me this deck. I love it. So excited to use it for this reading. Anyway, let's see what it is. We have the Page of Swords. Okay. And also from my boyfriend, deck that he got me a while ago. I just hit the wire. Too excited. The Shadowhunter Chronicles tarot deck. We have the Soldiers in reverse. So let me just flip that over so you can see this. So this card is actually it's the same number as the tower card would be in like the regular Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, but it's called the Soldiers. And then last but not least, we have this Hafiz card, and this says Kindle Love, number 8, and it is also in reverse. So you got a lot of cards in reverse, and wow, I'm just like a little all over the place today. Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, you got a lot of cards in reverse, so that felt significant. So I was determined to keep that as it was and get whatever messages need to come through for you. So what next action should Group 1 take? Well, it feels like, with the Soldiers in reverse, 8th House Mystery in reverse, Kindle Love in reverse, and the Page of Swords. I definitely feel like this group there's a lot of confusion here, but I almost feel like the confusion is coming from inside the house. The confusion is coming from within. There's something in you. Okay, so for this group, you might actually have some subconscious blockages. You could even be conscious of this. There could be some denial going on here in terms of what's actually making you feel stuck. Because I actually don't feel like it's really circumstances outside of you that are causing this feeling for you. I do feel like it's something within, some kind of like limitation, self-imposed limitation, or a subconscious idea that is stopping you from taking some kind of action. And I don't know, for some of you, you might not even know like what you're meant to be doing next. But you have this feeling like something needs to change. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Like, this one, if someone here does have a specific goal in mind, that this can still apply. But I almost feel like for a lot of people who chose this group, it's not that you have a specific goal in mind. You might have some ideas of different things that you want to go. I almost get the sense that like you do have directions that you want to go in, you do have things you want to do, but you might have trouble admitting to yourself that that's what you want to do, and you might have trouble believing that it's even possible for you to do the things you want to do. So it's almost like, yes, deep within, you have goals and dreams and ideas of where you want to go next and what you want to do next. But they're having trouble rising to the surface because there's some kind of denial that they're even possible or even real. And so it's causing you trouble. You're having trouble expressing these goals to yourself, to the universe, being honest about them, and finding the truth about what it is that you really want. And I do feel like, because we have this Kindle Love card here in reverse, and the thing is, with these 3 cards that came out in reverse, I do feel like they're in reverse, at least in part, because it's expressing something is internal for you. This is an internal, subconscious, potentially even pattern or belief or something like that is preventing you from really knowing what it is that you want to do next. And even if you are someone who actually you think, at least, or you feel like you know what you want to do, but you just don't know what step to take next, it's like, if you really got down to the nitty-gritty of it, you do know what step to take next, but you're in denial that it will work, or you're in denial that you even want to do that. It's almost like there's a part of you that, like, it's so hard to articulate, because I almost feel like that's how it is for you. Like, you don't even, this part of you, like, doesn't have a voice. You know what? I feel like this group is one that is not used to speaking your desires. I feel like this is a group that's not used to speaking your desires out loud, and in some cases even to yourself. And so you're having this feeling of something needs to change, there's something else, I want something, and you might not even really understand that that's what you're feeling. You might not even be able to articulate it. And in some cases, I'm like, how did you even find your way to this reading? Because some of you might not even know that, like, that's what's going on with you. You might not even know that some part of you is asking for some kind of change, asking for some kind of action. But I do feel like for others of you, you are aware on some level, like, there's something that I want to do. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know what, like, I don't know how to voice it to myself. There's something mysterious about this situation for you. There's something also, I feel like, with the soldiers in reverse here, this is the same number as the tower card in regular tarot. And in reverse, it's feeling like some kind of internal breakdown. Not necessarily that you're, like, going through a breakdown, or that, you're dealing with a mental breakdown of any kind. Not that. I mean, obviously, if you resonate with that, then welcome. I hope that you are doing all right. And also, please, in the case of mental breakdown, make sure you're getting the help that you need. There's no shame in that. There is a lot of wonderful mental health professionals and different kinds of avenues out there to help you through that situation. And that being said, not all of you are necessarily in that situation, but if you are, just please do take care of yourself. But that being said, I do feel like there is some kind of breakdown of some kind of pattern or just like way of suppressing your desires, honestly, that is occurring or impending that needs to get out of the way in order for you to be honest with yourself and express yourself more freely. And expressing yourself more freely may take the form of actual self-expression in terms of like creating something, making something, putting yourself out there. But it could also just be like literally just expressing to yourself or to the universe in a spiritual way. Even, hey, this is what I actually want out of life. Hey, this is what I'm interested in pursuing. Hey, I'm kind of into this or that, and I want to try that out. And it's really going to be different for all of you because I haven't actually read the other groups yet, but I would be willing to bet out of all of the groups, this is probably the one that might not know what it is that they actually want to do. And in some cases thinks that they know, but then we'll find out that what you actually want is a lot different than what you thought you wanted. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, continue pursuing whatever goal it is that you have in mind right now, unless you change your mind or unless deep down you already know, hey, this isn't for me. Because as long as you keep moving in the direction of what you think you desire, if it turns out to not be exactly what you were looking for, you will find out, you will know, and that will show you where you actually want to go. And then if it is actually right for you, if the path you're pursuing does turn out to be the one for you, then great, you're already there. Either way, it is going to lead you in the right direction. So, if there are paths that you're considering, if there are paths that you want to look into, that you're already on, you can continue down those roads, unless something is really telling you, this is not my road, and I want to find a new road. And I think for some of you, that is what's going on, and you're having trouble admitting that, because you're also like, well, if this isn't my road, then what is my road, And it could be something as small as what kind of path you want to take in like your next creative project. It doesn't have to be this huge life decision or anything like that. And I think for some of you it is something that's a little bit smaller and less maybe life-changing. But then we do have the Tower here, we do have the 8th house with mystery here, and there is an element of for some of you, yes, this might be around a complete redirection in your life that isn't necessarily going to happen overnight. I do feel like with the Tower in reverse here, if anything, like a tower crumbling moment could happen internally in terms of like, I thought I wanted this and now I'm realizing, like, it's almost like you're like, if you're walking through the halls of your internal self, you might either you've experienced this recently or this might be coming up for you. It's like you're walking through the halls of your inner self, and you're passing all these doors. You've already seen these doors. Some of them are locked, some of them are open, some of them you've already been in. You're just like, some of them you pass by and you're like, no, that's not for me. Like all these different doors within yourself you've already explored that look familiar, and all of a sudden, bam, you come face to face with like a door or a corridor that you've never seen before. But it's within you, and so it's either always been here or it's newly added, and you're like, what is this, right? And it's a little shocking for you. It's a little surprising. It's like, oh, like I didn't know that I had this in me. I didn't know that this was part of me. I didn't know that this was something I wanted, or I didn't know that I had the capabilities, and yet here I am. And that's the feeling I'm getting. And I don't think that you can force that kind of experience. I think it just kind of happens when you're ready. But if anything, I see here an encouragement to at least entertain the idea that there are parts of you that are unexplored that are asking you to explore them. And if there's any action that you can take, I see two things. Specific action, I mean, like things that like I can tell you, like do this and you can actually just do that, or you can take some of my suggestions that I'm about to give here that are coming through for you. And if you get your own intuition or inspiration on how to implement them, then you can do that. But there's two things. One is Page of Swords with this feather pen here. Write, journal, however you prefer to do that. Draw. It doesn't matter. Listen, pick a prompt. If you are not a journaler, if you are not a writer, if this is not something that you do at all or that you have any experience in, it might feel really weird at first. Okay, and you can use. I prefer using like a pen and paper or something like that. But if you want to just type it out, you can do that as well. It might feel really weird if you've never done that before. Push through that, all right? Because if you are resonating with the feeling of there's something in me that wants to come out, there's something I want to do, there's something blocking me and I don't know what it is, writing will help unlock that. But you've got to like get through the initial, I don't know what to write, like, I don't know how to do this, this is weird, this feels awkward. Just do it. It will not be as difficult as you think. And for those of you who are experienced journalers, who are less maybe resistant to the practice, it's time to get back to it. It's time to also like play around with how you do it, right? Find some new prompts. Shadow work is a term that keeps coming through. And I know a lot of people do like to journal when it comes to shadow work, and people make prompts, shadow work prompts. And so there might be something there for you to explore. That will help. Again, like when you're doing shadow work, you're bringing hidden parts of yourself to light. That's what it really feels like needs to happen here. You need to bring out what is hidden from you, because I think it ranges. For some of you, this is something that you really like will surprise you about yourself. There's something coming to the surface about you that surprises you. That's like, oh wow, I didn't know this was really here. And then for others of you, it's almost like a denial thing. It's like you're kind of avoiding the truth. You're kind of avoiding the, oh, I want to do this, or this is what I want to explore, this is who I am. You're avoiding that. And once you start writing it out, you'll stop avoiding it. Like it will just kind of start to come out and you'll unblock it. And once you write it down, it will feel much less threatening. And you might even wonder why you were avoiding it in the first place. Because I don't feel like it's a fully conscious thing that you're doing. I feel like it's an avoidance out of habit almost. And a habit that is ultimately crumbling. And with that, with Kindle Love in reverse here, Kindle Love for me, especially in reverse, is about self-love. It's about self-love. So practices that you can do to bring a deeper sense of appreciation and love for yourself, from yourself. Anything you can do in service of that is important here as well. And it feels like this is, honestly, like that's good any time of day, like that's good for anything. But in this case, there might be something here about like holding yourself back out of a lack of self-love. And also, I feel like for some of you, you would benefit from defining what love and what self-love means to you, and defining and also being open to redefining what that is. Because you might, once you actually dig into it, find that love isn't exactly what you thought it was. Like how to love yourself, right? Because self-love can look like, oh, I'm just going to be really gentle on myself, and I'm just going to say, you know what? Yeah, like you need more rest. You need to sleep in, and we're going to do a little bubble bath, and we're going to do this, and we're going to take a day off, and we're going to, I'm going to buy you a little gift, and like all that. And like that can be a really beautiful self-love moment. But, a really beautiful self-love moment can also be like, hey, like let's get real about our health, right? Like I want to love myself enough to take care of my body the way that it's asking me to, right? Like there are things that I'm doing that maybe you're even doing subconsciously that are harmful, that maybe you do in a way that it might not be like overtly like you're trying to hurt yourself, but it might still be hurting you. And there might be some feelings of self-loathing feels a little strong, but for some of you it could be that deep. But just like self-neglect, really. That once you take care of that, some of this stuff comes, it's almost like then you start to realize, oh, I deserve to want these things. I deserve to try out this new path or explore this new direction or experience these different experiences that I want to try out, like to have my desires fulfilled in some way. And not only that, I feel confident enough that that's possible for me, that I can take more steps towards those things in that direction. And so, yeah, your next steps really are, in this case, journaling, writing things out, bringing up anything that's hidden within you, and also learning to, or setting the intention to love yourself a little bit more deeply. And it really does feel like this doesn't have to be this huge, grandiose, like, ritual or, like, life shift. Like, you don't have to, like, be like, okay, I'm gonna completely turn my life around. Like, it feels like very small, like, little baby steps in this direction, taking these little actions that will have a big impact in the long run. Like, stuff will just be revealed to you. Stuff will just come to the surface. Old things that are ready to dissolve will crumble away. And any defenses that you had in place to keep you stuck or to keep you feeling like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I don't want anything. Why do I feel like dissatisfied? Or why do I feel like there's something I need to do? I don't even know what it is. Any of those defenses will naturally step aside, will naturally dissolve, because you'll realize that you don't need them anymore. And those parts of you will realize that they're not needed in that way anymore. Interesting. Okay, so with all that being said, I'm just going to pull a few quote cards here to close out the reading. So group 1, let me just shuffle these up. If you're new here, I love quotes, and so I just have a bunch. I have 2 huge stacks of quote cards that I created, and I like to pull them out in readings because they're fun. So, okay, group 1. Any additional messages or advice for group 1 to help get them moving in the direction that is most aligned with them? Okay, well, this one came out pretty quick. And then let me just go to this pile. Another thing I want to say, Page of Swords. So we have Mystery in reverse and the Page of Swords upright. And Page of Swords is all about clarity and truth, and also is a page. So, is someone who's just starting out on that journey. So that's where I feel like almost like you're like an amateur detective of yourself, and that's what you're being asked to be right now. Like an amateur detective of yourself, where you're investigating the mysteries within, and you're keeping an open mind about it, and you're recognizing that you have a lot left to learn, and it feels almost like fun, like kind of enjoyable, Like at first you might be a little nervous about taking up the investigation, but I feel like once you get started, you're kind of almost like playful about it, right? Okay, any other messages for group 1? Okay, we'll take this. All right, so we have this quote card here. So yeah, also pursuing the truth. There might be some books that are really valuable to you. Could be books about like philosophy or spiritual wisdom, psychology, even if you're really delving into, the depths of your own psyche and what's going on with you, or just about a field that you're curious about or interested in, where even if you were like, well, I don't know if I really want to do that, but, maybe that's interesting to me, learn more about it and just be light and playful about it. And we have, I really do like listening to stuff that's happened to other people. I guess that's why I like to read. from That Was Then, This Is Now by S.E. Hinton. Yeah, so this can also... So something else that can help you sort of figure yourself out a little bit more is reading. So it depends. Some of you might be readers or might not really be into reading, but you like other forms of storytelling, right? TV shows, movies, anything like that. And some of you might be more like nonfiction people, or you're like, I don't know, I'm not really into storytelling at all. But I have to say, I find that reading, and particularly for me, fiction reading, helps reveal a lot to me about myself and about where I'm at and about the things I want. Because if you actually start to consider the kinds of narratives that you get most drawn into, the kinds of characters that you relate to the most, the kinds of storylines that stick out to you, and also the interpretations that you bring to the works that might be different than other people's interpretations, then you can start to get a feel for, oh, this is where I'm coming from. Because you can ask questions like, why does this character really appeal to me? You know, is it something about myself, like, and their story? Do I relate to their story? Or is it just something about that story in general? Like, does it relate to something specific in my life? Does it bring out a certain feeling in me that I really enjoy feeling, right? Where is that coming from? And you can get into the nitty-gritty of, like, who you are and what you really want based on the kinds of stories and characters and aspects of stories that really draw you in the most. So I feel like that can really help. And it could even be, it could be literally listening to other people's stories or autobiographies, or even if you're not a big reader or a story person, but like you like listening to people talk about their lives and on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, just start to notice really what draws you in the most, what appeals to you the most, and what kinds of feelings are happening when you're watching these things, listening to these things. And be open to what you find. You know, sometimes it might reveal something to you about yourself. Sometimes it might reveal something to you about your habits. Sometimes it might reveal something to you about what is good for you, and it might also reveal something to you about what is maybe not so good for you, right? Sometimes there's things that are just like, yes, this is my thing, and it really clicks. And then sometimes there's things where it's like, I feel like I'm kind of like almost addicted to this feeling at this point, but it might not actually be serving me in the long run, right? Like, you know, this kind of storyline or this kind of content I might need to take a break from that, you know. All of these different kinds of self-discoveries can be had from just observing the kinds of things that we listen to, the kinds of people that we listen to, the kinds of stories that we listen to, and the things that draw us in and keep us coming back. So really pay attention to that right now. And then we have this card as well. And this says, one who cannot cast away a treasure at need is in fetters, from The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, and that kind of brings me back to the idea of potentially even paying attention to certain habits or things or anything that draws you in that feels like an addiction, that feels like it's something that like you can't let go of, like you feel stuck in it. And this could also apply to anyone who's in a current situation in your life where you're feeling like, I actually don't want to be here, but I don't want to let go of where I'm at to pursue a new direction. And a very specific and also rather, I don't want to say dramatic, but kind of like big picture example is a career, for example, right? Feeling like you maybe you're in a job where you're like, well, I have a really good thing going here. I don't want to let it go, but I also have this yearning to try something else or to go somewhere else, or it's just not quite making me happy, right? And there's a need to let go, but there's a fear or there's an attachment that is still present. And I'm not saying like at face value, oh yeah, the next thing you should do is quit your job at all. This is actually much more about self-exploration and figuring out for you what is in that, whatever desire that you're feeling. And even if you do have a specific thing that you want, even if you're like, yeah, no, I know I want this or I want that, like learning more about why, really just digging in a bit deeper into yourself and learning why you have the attachments that you have, learning why you might have the even blockages that you might be experiencing, right? And especially keying in on anything that you feel really tied to, really stuck on. Interrogate that a bit and don't and be open to the discoveries that you make, right? And be open to nuanced interpretations of what is actually going on for you in any of these areas. without judgment. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that you're learning to do with this Kindle Love card in reverse here is to approach yourself with less judgment and more curiosity. That Page of Swords right there is very curious, and swords in general I feel like is able to separate logic and emotion a bit and come at something from a more analytical standpoint, and in doing so brings a lot less moralizing, a lot less judgment, and a lot more, well, what if I tried this? And what if I tried that? Curiosity, experimental, scientific interest, if you will. And coming at your desires, your confusion, your internal blockages from that perspective, and maybe literally like writing it down, literally writing out, I just got a specific idea, like for anyone who wants to get creative, like almost like writing out like a little case file, right? Like if there's something that you're trying to figure out within yourself and you're like, why do I do this? Or what is it that I really want? And like making it into a little case file and like writing down your findings, writing down like your hypothesis, even like an experimental kind of thing, like writing down hypotheses and then exploring those and like journaling on them. Oh, you could have a little fun with that. Yeah. Even creating your own characters, if you're really like a creative person, like I play D&D sometimes, and you can make your own characters in D&D and build not only like their skills and abilities but also their backstories and their personalities. And it's like, well, maybe either you want to do that and explore what kind of character that you build and see what it might say about you and who you are, or if you've already got some characters going, then you can explore those guys and see like what makes them all tick, and see if there's anything in those creations that you've made that tell you something about yourself that you didn't realize before. If you kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture of the storylines that you're drawn to, the characters that you're drawn to, the archetypes that you're interested in. Yeah, that might really help click something into place for you. Fascinating. Okay. So I hope that was helpful, group 1. That's all we have. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated. And if you're interested in a personal tarot reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. Link is in the description. We also offer hypnosis and human design as well if you're interested in that. And my mom is the one who actually does the human design. I work with her, and so you can also check out more about that on our website. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi Group 2, if you chose the hematite, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what next action you should take. So, as always, use your intuition when it comes to taking messages. You will know what is meant for you and what is not, and you can learn just as much about yourself from what is meant for you as from what is not meant for you, just based on your own intuition and your reactions to certain things, and that can be, as always, just as valuable no matter if the message resonates or not. So keep that in mind, and yeah, we're just going to get into your next action, or the next action you can take that is aligned with your highest good, either about a specific goal, if that's what you're focusing on, or just in general in life, if you're just feeling stuck in general and you're not really sure where to go next. So keep an open mind, stay curious, and we're just going to get right into it. I have pre-selected all your cards, and then we'll get some quote cards from my personal stack of handmade quote cards a little bit later. So let's get into it. First things first, we have Progressions Journey. Then we have, from this deck, which by the way is a new deck that my boyfriend got for me, and I love it so much. We have number 7, the Chariot. From this deck that my boyfriend also got for me, but like before we were going out. Anyway, you don't need to know all that. We have the 5 of Runes, which is also the 5 of Cups, and also that has the keyword of mourning on it. Mourning, not mourning like sunrise, mourning like grieving. And then last but not least, we have this Hafiz card with number 7, Embrace Stillness. Oh, so you have 2 number 7s here. Interesting. Okay, so 7 might be a important number for you. Let me just make sure those are all straight. Okay. So we have Progressions, Journey, the Chariot, 5 of Cups, and Embrace Stillness. Interesting. Your next action. Well, with Embrace Stillness coming out, if you didn't check out the brief centering exercise in this video, you might actually want to go back and do that little meditation. It's only a few minutes, but I do talk a bit in there. Like sometimes I kind of just like whatever comes to mind as I'm going through the meditation, I will share. And something that came up was the idea of embracing stillness. Literally, actually, it was about how stillness and stagnation sometimes can actually be exactly what we need and help us move forward faster, as long as we don't resist it and as long as we are able to appreciate what that brings to our process. So I do get this sense that for some of you, well, I think for all of you really, there is something here about, I'm getting the sense that for a lot of you, things aren't going as planned, or there are things that keep getting in your way. There might even be a sense of feeling pulled in two different directions and not being able to decide which way you want to go. And there is a sense of also disappointment here. Like there's some kind of disappointment, right? So either something is not going in your way, or you could be disappointed in the situation, in certain things not panning out in the way that you need them to or want them to. But you can also be disappointed in yourself for not really being sure which path to take or which direction to go, whether in a specific project or in life in general. And this reading right here is really about being open to the journey and being able to, this is really giving actually like the message that came through in the brief centering exercise about giving grace and gratitude to the things that appear to be getting in your way. So if you feel like you keep being forced to stop on your path, to take a break, to pause, to that you want to charge ahead, but you find that you can't, things are putting like a wrench in the plan. I don't think that's like there's a saying that wants to come through, but it's not fully forming. Then you're meant to sit down and take a moment to have gratitude for those blockages. I'm literally getting this. Okay. there's a few things here. First is just the image of like someone who's like trying to like push like a boulder or something, and it's not happening, right? Like it's like you're pushing up against a wall, and you're meant to stop pushing up against that wall and like literally sit down and meditate and breathe, and something else is going to come to you. Some kind of solution is going to come to you. Some other direction, some other way to go about it is going to come to you. And it's going to help you either redirect or find a new way to go about what it is that you were trying to do that had you like coming up short or pushing up against a wall, hitting a brick wall. I'm actually getting specifically an example from the anime Demon Slayer. There's actually two parts in the show where the main character is faced with this like giant boulder. And in one case, he's meant to cut the boulder in half. In another case, he's meant to push the boulder. And in both cases, it takes him a little while to actually be able to do it. And the main character, Tanjiro, is very determined. Like, he does not let disappointment get in his way. He is not easily discouraged. Like, he will have moments of like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, or, oh, this is really hard, it's taking me so long, but it doesn't get him down. It doesn't stop him, really. He will just keep trying. He will find a way. And I get the sense that a lot of you either embody those traits or could benefit from cultivating that kind of mindset of resilience, because with the 5 of Runes here, I do feel like there's a, yes, you know what it is? Okay. So either you are someone who, no, let's say it this way. I feel like a lot of people here have trouble letting themselves sit in disappointment and acknowledge disappointment and acknowledge that something is not working out the way that you want it to, and acknowledge that you're angry or pissed off or sad or what have you. But you are being asked to learn how to sit with that feeling, learn how to embrace that feeling, learn how to accept that feeling, learn how to accept that experience. And So you might actually, like, you're actually being asked to stop and embrace. When you embrace stillness, like, it's almost like I see, like, for some people, very literally, it's like going into meditation purposefully to accept any feelings of disappointment that you might have, any feelings of discouragement that you might be experiencing. And there might be some anger that arises with that. There might be frustration, anything like that. And you're meant to allow yourself to be still enough to let that come up, not to overwhelm you, not to dwell on it, not to get stuck in the experience, but rather to let those emotions arise and transform, and also to show you that disappointment, discouragement, frustration are not as big a deal as you think. Because I'm getting the feeling that some people here are really used to suppressing these feelings because there's something about these feelings that it almost like you feel like if you feel it at all, if you acknowledge it at all, if you are someone who is capable of experiencing disappointment or frustration, that it will stop you in your tracks, that it will not let you continue, that you're a bad person for feeling that way, that it will get the better of you, that's your enemy, as opposed to the actual suppression of the experience and the avoidance of these emotions, which is actually what's getting in your way, right? Which is actually what's making it harder for you to keep going and to do what it is that you need to do, and to have faith that one day you will move that boulder, right? Like, one day you will actually get through that wall, whatever it is that you're feeling is in your way. Like, that every action you take, every move that you make is... Now I'm getting like the Every Breath You Take by I think it's the Police, right? Anyway, that could be significant or a sign for someone. But I feel like more than anything, it's like every single little move that you're making is chipping away at that wall, is chipping away at that boulder, is chipping away at whatever is blocking you. And you have to have faith that that is happening, and you have to keep going. And you have to be down with the journey. You have to be down with the fact that sometimes the journey will feel hard. Sometimes the journey will feel like it's not going anywhere. And with the Chariot here, this really speaks about duality, and sometimes feeling like there's two different parts of you that are pulling you in two different directions. And I do feel like you might be experiencing that as well right now, where it's one part of you is like, we just got to go, we got to do it, we got to make the next move, we got to figure out what we're doing next. And the other part of you is like, no, we got to stop, we got to avoid the disappointment that comes along with, making the wrong move, or disappointing someone, or not living up to our own expectations, right? There's two wolves inside you, and they're holding each other back, but really what they could be doing is working together, right? And so this embracing stillness, like really meditating on those negative, quote unquote, emotions, those frustrations, those thoughts that seem to get in your way, is what, you're meant to transmute and transform those into motivation, into encouragement, into even just excitement for okay, this is my journey, right? And a journey isn't just, I'm just on one path and I'm just, now I'm there. I just walked in a straight line. No, a journey has mountains and hills and forests, and you make turns, and you make a turn and you're I thought I was going this way, now I'm going that way, and then you think you screwed it up, but then maybe you come across someone that you didn't expect to meet on that path, and you're oh wow, this is a really dope person, I'm glad I took this little detour. And sometimes you're also just well, this really wasn't the right way to go, but there's a cool lake over there, that's nice. And sometimes you're just you know what, that thing that I just did right there, that sucked, but maybe that's okay. You know what I mean? And so I feel that's where you're at right now, is learning how to transform. So oh yeah, if you're coming up upon little disappointment after disappointment, or little glitch after glitch, and it's getting you really frustrated, start to approach those moments as they're fuel, right? They're opportunities to grow resilience. They're signs that you're on the right path. They're signs that you're doing exactly what you're meant to do. And it's also little challenges for you to be okay, yeah, well, can you get past this? Can you get past that? be the Demon Slayer, right? Be Tanjiro, right? So if you haven't seen Demon Slayer, I mean, it's not for everyone, I'm sure, but if you're interested in checking it out, like, I do feel like the attitude that character has towards their own journey and the setbacks that they experience could be really valuable for you, because I do feel like Tanjiro is a character who is very determined, who does not let certain things get him down, and you can also see it really contrasted with the character of Zenitsu, who is much more prone to, like, freaking out and getting down on himself and, like, being discouraged and is someone who is very frustrated by Tanjiro at times, who has a much more positive outlook, and he's just like, how could you be like that? And, like, honestly, I feel like sometimes you might experience both of those people in one, and you're having trouble deciding, like, which person you want to be. But I have to say that at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you just keep going, and the more resilience you build up to, like, things quote unquote going wrong on your path, the less it will phase you. And over time, there's going to be very little that can phase you. That's what I'm feeling. So if you can start to treat every little, like, bump in the road as a blessing, man, you're unstoppable. Like, you really are. And I feel like a lot of you are actually already doing better at that than you realize, and you should be really proud of yourself. So with that being said, group 2, I'm going to move on to just pulling a couple quote cards from my handmade quote card deck to close out your reading, just with any additional messages that want to come up for you. But yeah, so your next move, like, literally, might quite literally be to meditate on your disappointments. For those of you that this came through more strongly in group 1, but for those of you who are, like, really visual or, like, written word kind of person, like journaling on it, drawing it out, expressing it in some kind of artistic way, maybe even, like, if you're a very physical person, like going on a run or exercising with the intent that, like, as you're exercising, you're kind of working through these frustrations, right? Like, you're using them as fuel and things like that. That might be, like, literal tangible things that you can do to help yourself with this process. But, like, yeah, I almost feel like for, like, meditation is really something that's key for a lot of you, and it's, like, it's not going to be comfortable, but that's the point. Like, really embrace that discomfort, embrace that as, like, like, the more comfortable you get with that, like, the less of an obstacle it's going to be on your road when you encounter, like, little disappointments and things like that. Like, you know how to handle it. It's not going to get you down. You can feel discouraged and disappointed in the moment, and then you let it go, right? Because you're not afraid of those feelings anymore. And that's the main thing, is that you are learning to not to fear those kinds of feelings on your path. Okay, so any additional messages for group? Okay, yeah, group 2. And then I'm also going to get one from the other pile of quote cards that I have, because I have so many. There's just so many. Okay, let's do it. Let's get another quote card here. Okay. Another quote card for group 2. Oh, here we go. Okay. 2 black and white ones as well. Interesting. Yeah, black and white, and we have the red and white. Like, yeah, it reminds me of also the black and white sphinxes. And also, one more thing I want to say before I get into these cards, actually, with progressions over here, journey, right? There's also the idea that, like, there's your internal weather and then there's the external weather, right? And you can't always control what's going on outside of you, but you can learn to respond to it in different ways, in ways that are more productive for you. So yes, sometimes things will go on outside of you that cause disruption to your plans, that cause disappointment, that cause things to not go in the way that you were planning. But you can also cultivate, there's also, with this embrace stillness, cultivating a stillness inside where you are still inside. You are always calm and at peace. And that doesn't mean that, like, you are always feeling great and amazing. It's like there's like something like, even if there are storms that come in, even if there are feelings that arise, like you have such a core of stillness and peace that ultimately like those can just pass through and they do not faze you so much anymore. And like that is really what you're cultivating. That's what you're growing into here. And it's really important for whatever it is that you want to do in your life, whatever it is that you're focused on, whether you have a specific goal in mind or you're not sure what you're doing next, like cultivating this will bring you to where you want to go, and also where you might not even know you want to go yet. And it will immunize you basically to the weather that's going on around you, the circumstances outside of you that you don't have direct control over. That being said, let's look at your quote card. So we have this like explosion of music notes, and we have all people are musicians. The question is whether or not they share their songs. From Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, so some of you, I mean, maybe very literally this is confirmation for those of you who are musicians, or anyone who's like an artist or a creative or who has things to share, and you're hesitating on that. You know, maybe you're having that back and forth, the part of you that wants to go for it and the part of you that's afraid to go for it, afraid of disappointment, right? Afraid of any discouragement or anything like that. Focus more on being the musician. Focus more on the act of sharing and the satisfaction in just doing that, and less on the result right now, right? Just focus on being and living and doing, and less on what that brings to you. That might seem backwards, that might seem difficult to comprehend if you're really you're very much a like reward oriented person. Like you're like, well, I wanna like get the result, right? Like but it's like becoming more, again, like I feel like a lot of this is about your process, about becoming more in tune with the process and more accepting of the process, and more just intrinsically and inherently satisfied with the process of learning and growing, and like inspired to do it for the sake of the learning and the growing, and then the results will come as a side effect of that. But there's like got to be a part of you that's also invested in the aspect of growth itself, in the aspect of, in that like that like a little bit, you know, the discomfort that comes along with like if you're not an athlete, you know, I feel like the athletic mindset is really helpful for the people in this group, because it's like you kind of got to be, if you're gonna like be working out like that intensely, you got to be down with like pushing yourself to some limits, and you got to be down to like testing your physicality and like being uncomfortable and like getting comfortable with the discomfort of like running or lifting weights that are too heavy for you. And like there's a stamina that you build up not only in your body but in your mental body and emotional body, where you teach yourself to handle that kind of pain and pressure in a way where it doesn't faze you the same way. Maybe you even enjoy it. Maybe it encourages you. Maybe, and that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're developing your own work ethic, your own process, your own like enjoyment of the hard bits, the resistance, right? You're like, oh, like no, resistance isn't a sign that I'm doing anything wrong. It's an opportunity to build me up stronger, right? It's like anytime you encounter an issue, quote unquote, on your path, it's like you're adding new weights, right? You're like adding new weights, and you're like, oh yeah, like can I lift this? Yeah, I got this, you know? And you do got it. And then we have this card here, this little glowing butterfly here. Maybe butterflies are significant for some people here as well. And this says, life is cruel, magic is real, and I'm not ready to die. From Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah, and I just feel like Hellbent, like, yeah, you gotta be hellbent on your goals. You've gotta be down for the fact that sometimes life will feel cruel, sometimes things on your path will not go to plan, but also miracles happen, magic is real, things work out in ways that you could never fathom, and you're not ready to die. You're not ready to quit. You're not ready to give up. And I feel like for people here, it's like you gotta get with the program that like part of you enjoys and wants to enjoy some difficulty along your path, and like enjoy the resistance that you meet and enjoy the difficult bits, and realize there's so much satisfaction that you can get from that. And And yeah, so your next task is to really, and sometimes that means embracing like the frustration of feeling stuck in the moment and just sitting down and redirecting your energy and meditating, contemplating, addressing whatever's going on within you that you've been avoiding, and trusting that that's part of your process as well. Yeah. Okay. So, get at it. Whatever it is that you're doing, just keep doing it. Like, just keep going for it. Have that, like, that determination. The determination and the persistence of a shonen anime protagonist. Okay. So yeah, that's all I got for you, group 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I did. This was fun. It's really interesting too. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. Also, if you're interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. We also offer hypnosis, and my mom does human design as well, so you can check that out on our website. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you selected the blue opalite, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about the next action that you should take, either on some goal that you're focused on, or in general in your life, particularly if you're feeling a bit stuck or you're not sure where to go or what to do. Now, of course, as always, tap into your intuition, know that you will know what resonates with you and you will know what does not, and you can learn just as much from what resonates with you as you can learn from what does not as well. So keep that in mind, keep an open mind, and yeah, we're just gonna see what actions come up and also what other messages around this topic that come up that could potentially be helpful for you. So as I mentioned, I have pre-selected your cards here, so I will lay them out and we will get into it. So first things first, we have, that one really wanted to come out, but we'll look at this one first. We have Scorpio with Investigate, number 8. Then we have 2 cards. You guys actually got 2 cards from this deck. They just came out together and I had to keep them. And this is from my new deck from my boyfriend who gifted it to me, so shout out to you. If you are watching, thank you. I love it. And your cards are 8 of Cups and 8 of Swords. So 2 8s came out together. That felt significant. Oh, wait, we have 8, 8, and 8. Wow. So yeah, 8 is a significant number for this group. Could be a confirmation for you. Could also be something related to the numerology of the number. But yeah, 8 is important. And then we also have this card from this deck, also from my boyfriend. Thank you. With Page of Rings or Page of Pentacles. In this deck, it's the rings, but it is the suit of Pentacles. And then we have a Hafiz card for you as well with number 3, Embrace Your Magnificence. Okay. So, and once we go through messages from these cards, I will get some messages from my handmade quote cards to close out the reading. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so your next action. Well, with Scorpio and Investigate, one of your next actions that you can take seems to be related to investigating something. It's funny because it's almost similar to some messages that came through in group 1. There's a sense of needing to investigate yourself to a degree. Now, this could also be literal in terms of investigating the different options that are available to you. So say you are considering pursuing a certain goal and there's like multiple different paths you can take. There might be some more investigation, like quite literally, that you can do. And I get that with the Page of Pentacles, Page of Rings as well. Investigating your options, looking into more about the logistics of a situation, about the people that might be involved, about the steps that you would have to take. There's some cases where you might not have done all of the investigating that you could do, and it's worth looking into. And the more information that you get from each option, quite simply, the more clarity you'll get on your next path. So there is a definite message there about that. That being said, there's also a sense of investigating into yourself as well, because we have the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Swords coming out together. And, well, in particular, when it comes to the 8 of Swords, there's a sense of needing to investigate certain limiting beliefs that you have and certain limitations that you placed on yourself and your situation. And this isn't like, because it's Eight of Swords, it's not about like external limitations that are placed on you. It's about limitations that you have within you, that you have like mental blocks and things like that. And so there's also something here about investigating why certain paths or certain options for the actions that you want to take next might seem impossible, or you might be resistant towards it or hesitant towards it. Like, why, if there's like maybe quote unquote excuses that you keep making for not taking a certain action, why are you doing that? It's time to investigate those things. It's time to look further into it. And with the Eight of Cups here, it's also time to look into anything that you're avoiding, any habit of avoiding certain things. Look into those habits as well. And as well, there's a message with the Eight of Cups of looking into something that might help you decide where you're going or where you want to go, is deciding what you want to walk away from and what you want to move towards. So deciding, and this could be like literally physically, like, right? Like if there's something related to literally like a place that you can move to. Like, do you want to be closer to this area or do you want to be closer to that area? Do you want to leave this area behind? Or do you want to be like weighing your pros and cons? Like, will a certain path move you closer to where you want to be or move you further away from where you want to be? Really contemplate that. Kind of get big picture with it and imagine, like, imagine in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, who you want to be, how you want to be, where you want to be, and really consider whether a certain path might move you closer to that or move you further away. And now it's kind of coming up in the example of literally like moving house, moving to different locations and things like that. But it really could be as small and as simple as like what medium you use in your next art project or something like that, right? Like, it could be like, will this medium move you more in the direction of the style that you're looking for, the feeling that you're looking for, the experience that you're looking to have when you're creating this piece, or will it move you further away from that? It could be something like that too. And any limitations that you could face in those areas, well, do you feel like, well, I'm not skilled enough in this medium to make it work, but that would be the perfect one. You know what I mean? Like, well, you're not skilled enough in that medium. Well, how about you just start using it more? You start working with it, you start practicing with it, and see how fast you improve. And you could even use the project that you're looking to start as a way to practice the medium that you feel like you're not as skilled in, right? Don't just use that as an excuse. Do it anyway. But if you're feeling really blocked by a limiting belief around that, investigate it a little bit. Really, really interrogate it and see if it's worth keeping that belief, or if you're able to set it aside and just say, you know what, let me just do this anyway. Because listen, there's so many, you can always come up with a reason that you can't do something, that it won't work, that it's not for you. But what if you just stopped doing that, right? Like, what if you just didn't? What if you like took that belief and then like deliberately reversed it and went with the other one instead and like practiced that one and just took it on as your reality? Like, what then, you know? Have a little fun with that. But like the word interrogate really came through with investigate over here with Scorpio. Like, get deep into it, like interrogate it. Like I'm visualizing literally taking your limiting beliefs and like putting them under like a bright light in an interrogation room and just like laying into them, you know, playing a little good cop, a little bad cop. Like, okay, like where are you coming from? What are you trying to like do? Like, why are you keeping me stuck? Or like, why are you preventing me from doing the things that I want to do? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And with the Page of Rings, Page of Pentacles, there's also a sense of embracing being a beginner. And like, I'm specifically getting that being a beginner at a like craft or a way of life, like a thing that you're making, maybe even money, maybe even making money, maybe even a career thing, but maybe an artistic pursuit, but also maybe even being the person that you want to be, like in terms of morals and values and the way that you comport yourself. That's the phrasing that's coming through. It's like embracing that beginner mentality and being willing to change, being willing to make the changes that you would like to make, even if you there's for some of you maybe a hesitation to relinquish a certain identity around a limitation that you have, because like, I don't know, there's some kind of like feeling of like being a hypocrite, or like, well, I held on to that limitation for so long, like who am I without it, but it's like you're starting to embrace a new, like being new at something, or like turning your back on old ways, or forging a new reality, a new identity for yourself. And that's something I get with the character Gabriel Lightwood, someone who, he had to make a choice between staying with his father, who was not really a good dude, or like be joining a new family, basically, in a sense, and espousing the values that he is more aligned with. And it ultimately wasn't a very easy decision for him, and there were things that was hard for him to let go of, but he had to make the decision that was more true to who he wanted to be, and the bigger picture of the life that he wanted to lead, and the life that he thought he was leading, right? In some cases, for some of you, you're interrogating a path that you've been on that you thought was aligned with you, but might not be. And there might be some changes you can make that will align you more with who you want to be and where you want to be. Like, for example, like, career just is coming up a lot with this reading, but it really does not have to be like specifically about career. But, an example that's coming through is you like aligned with a job in a company that seemed really good, and you were like, oh yeah, like they really align with my values, like I think this is what I want and everything. And then like the more experience that you had, either things changed or you learned more about it, and you were like, actually, like I don't know if this really aligns with like where I'm going or who I want to be, or like not so much. And either you are afraid to leave that behind because maybe part of you did align with it at once, and then you've changed your mind, you've changed as a person, you're growing in a new direction, or you like you just like, well, you're like, well, it's too late, I'm in too deep, right? Like this is where I gotta stay. It's like, no, you're meant to interrogate that belief and say, but why do I believe that? Like, why do I think that like it's too late for me, right? And that can apply to anything. It doesn't have to just be the job example. Like, for some of you, that is the limiting belief, right? This idea of, like, it's too late. It's too late for me to change my direction or to do this thing. If you're in the middle of some kind of project, to take it in a new direction, right? And it might not be too late. You might want to interrogate why you believe that it is, right? And really dig into that and break down what it would actually cost you or take for you to change that direction, to make a different choice, to be a little bit bolder with whatever direction you're going in, with whatever choice you're making. And we have embrace your magnificence. So yeah, there's a sense that in some way you're interrogating and investigating what's been holding you back from like being this like magnificent peacock and like showing off all of your feathers and being seen for exactly who you are and who you really are. I feel like we're going from sort of this like more hidden, like held back energy to this like explosion of like, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is like what I can do, this is what's inside of me, this is what I want to express, this is what I want to share. And yeah, if you've been holding back, if you've been feeling like held back and you've been feeling like you're holding yourself back, it's time to investigate that, to ask why, to be like, hey, why? Like, what am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? What am I not believing in myself about? To make a different choice, and then to just be like, here I am. Here I am. And embrace the fact that you are quite magnificent. And in whatever way that you've been holding, like anywhere in your life that you've been holding back is somewhere that, just trust it's somewhere that you have the potential to be truly something special, something out of the ordinary, something eye-catching, something like top tier. And if that scares you, if you still feel hesitation towards that, just ask why. And that's your action really here, is to just ask why. To start asking questions. So set the intent and to just ask why and to embrace your magnificence, right? To embrace the concept that you've got a lot going for you. You've got a lot going on that like is actually working for you, that you have a lot of potential, that you have a lot to share, to show. And for some of you, your next action is to show off a little bit, like to put it out there and prove to yourself that your limits are just in your head. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, group 3, I hope I've been calling you group 3. Anyway, group 3, I am going to shuffle up some quote cards and see if we have any other messages for you here. Yeah, anything where you're hesitating, anything you're avoiding, man, that's where all your potential and your magnificence lies. It's time to get real with yourself about that. And it could be as simple as just like the next direction you want to take with like a project you're doing for work or like in your free time. It doesn't matter. It could be literally about a hobby that you do. Doesn't mean you can't be magnificent at it. You know? It could be about like, I don't know, like there's a sport or a video game or something that you're really passionate about and you feel like you feel like you don't even know how to approach it, or you're feeling down on yourself about like being really good at it, or some skill or hobby. It's like, nah, maybe friendships, relationships, whatever. Some of you, maybe it's like you feel like you can't have really good like friendships or be a good friend or whatever. It's like, no, embrace your magnificence. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you think that, why you feel that way, and poke holes in your theories and see how full of holes these theories are that limit you. Be your own like detective. It's kind of similar to something that came through in group 2 actually. It's like, yeah, except for them I was getting more of a scientist ultimately. For you it's like a detective. Like you're on the case. you got to create like a little case study. Was that group 2 or group 1? It doesn't matter. You are a detective of your own limiting beliefs, and there's a suspect amongst you. There's a criminal amongst you who's keeping you tied up, and you gotta suss them out, and well, for some of you, you are putting them behind bars and you're saying, nope, you're not stopping me, you're not holding me back anymore. For some of you, you're also like setting a part of yourself free. Like maybe it's like, oh, this part of me has been wrongfully accused, right? Like maybe the part of you that wants to like strut your stuff and be like a little peacock and like be out there and be seen, maybe that part of you has been in jail for a while because you're like, that one's gonna get me in trouble. And like maybe there was a time where you were seen and you did get in trouble. Like maybe it even goes back to like I'm getting like a little like the class like jokester, right? Who like gets in trouble for causing trouble in school, and maybe there was one time where like it really hit home and you're like, like I can't do that anymore, you know? My dreams of being a stand-up comic are forever dashed because I got in trouble in, you know, my 3rd grade class and it really scarred me. It's like maybe take that part of you that's kind of been in jail for a long time because, you know, you don't want to get in trouble by your teacher. Take that part of you out of jail and be like, hey, actually, in the field we want to go in, which in this scenario is stand-up comedy, those jokey kind of skills, like all that stuff that you put in jail, that's actually going to help you now. Like that's going to benefit you in this field. Like you're allowed to be center of attention. You're allowed to make jokes and make a scene and make a fool of yourself, like, and make other people laugh. Like, so like take yourself out of the handcuffs and let yourself be free and do your thing, right? Yeah. Ooh, for some of you that is like something related to your situation where it's like you put a part of you in jail. You walked away from something that at one time you thought, nah, it's not worth the trouble, or it got you in trouble, and it's like that was a completely different context, a completely different time. It's time to like take that part of you out of jail and be like, your skills are needed, right? Oh, I'm getting like in a like in a movie where there's like a criminal who's in jail, right? He got caught or whatever, but he's like really good at what he does, and so like they need to take him out for like an investigation, you know, like for like to help with some kind of like crime, like detective work, because he's like, yeah, like you know what you're doing, right? And so like they take him out and like he, you know, does a great job on the case. Like, I don't know why I say he, doesn't have to be a he, but you know what I mean. And it's like, yeah, you're like, hey, yeah, your skills are needed. It's time for you to get back. Or you're coming out of retirement, right? Like there's a part of you that's been like, yeah, you got into a really bad accident. You're a race car driver and you got into a really bad accident and you put that race car driver part of you in you know, into retirement and someone comes back and it's like, we need you to win races again. And you got to take that part of you out of the closet and be like, oh, all right, it's time to get back out there. Like that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Like you're like setting some part of yourself free. You're setting some part of yourself free that has been caged for a long time. I hope you find those examples amusing and relatable. I hope you're realizing right now which part of you put in jail and you're like, oh shit, time to get them out. All right. All that being said, now I'm going to get your quote card. So group 3, is there any additional messages that would be helpful for group 3, please? Okay, well, 2 just fell out. Yeah, we're going to take both of them. And then I am still going to shuffle up the other half of the deck. So we'll just see if there's anything else that wants to come out of this deck. Feeling a little bit of like a jokester kind of energy in this group. So maybe there are some like comedians here. I don't know. Aspiring comedians. Just funny, silly people. Welcome. If not, you know, that's fine. You don't have to be. I'm getting that kind of vibe. All right. Anything else that you want? Okay. That was fast. We'll take that. Okay. So we've got a lot of black and white here. Not all of my cards are in black and white, so that might be significant. Maybe there's some black and white thinking going on, right? That could be a little bit detrimental to you, especially when it comes to maybe punishing certain parts of yourself or holding certain parts of yourself back. So addressing that could be helpful. We have this card here that says, how could you insult a witch? And what would it matter if you could? And the whole quote is, if a witch needs something, another witch will give it to her. If there is a war to be fought, we don't consider cost one of the factors in deciding whether or not it is right to fight. Nor do we have any notion of honor. An insult to a bear is a deadly thing. To us, inconceivable. How could you insult a witch? What would it matter if you did? From The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. Yeah, this is about having a thick skin and not holding yourself to like standards of honor or like not letting pride hold you back. Yeah, not like it's funny because like embrace your magnificence is like, yeah, like I'm strutting myself, like there's a certain amount of pride in that, right? But like not letting pride hold you back because it's like not taking insults too seriously, you know? So going back to the stand-up comic example, you know, if you are becoming a stand-up comedian and you get on stage and you bomb a few times, like if you really want to be a comedian, you gotta just go with it, right? Like maybe it's not the right crowd, maybe some of the jokes could use some work, maybe you just need to get more comfortable with your delivery. All of the times that you get up there and you do the thing are opportunities to get better at doing the thing and to develop the thickness of your skin and to not let an insult get to you, to just trust in your own magnificence and let everything else roll off your back, you know what I mean? And yeah, you kind of have to be like, well, how could you insult me? What would it matter if you did? Like, insults just kind of go in one ear and out the other. You know, you don't internalize them. And I feel like for a lot of you, the limiting beliefs that you're investigating have to do with times when, like, insults or things like that really did hit deep, right? And probably from times when you were younger and less equipped to handle that. And so when you investigate that, you look into it and you realize that's what's been holding you back. Maybe you pull the thread of like, where did this feeling of shame or discomfort in this situation come from? And you pull it all the way back to like the first instance or as far back as you can go. You might be a little surprised to realize the initial feeling that felt like such a big deal at the outset, like that first insult, it's not that big of a deal anymore, right? Like you can let it go. That's kind of what this feels like. We also have this card with this kind of like black inky thread here. So yeah, there might be threads for you to pull. And we have, nothing would teach me but personal experience. I'm just going to have to muddle through these first few times from Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. Just like the example I just gave of a stand-up comedian who bombs on stage and just keeps going, right? It's like personal experience is part of the package. It's part of the game. And you've got to be brave enough to actually, and that's almost what I feel like. I feel like your first task here is to investigate your limiting beliefs and to find a way to embrace your magnificence. And that will kickstart, and part of the process of doing that will involve potentially getting out there and mixing it up and having more experiences in whatever it is that you want to do, and just doing it. Not feeling prepared, not needing to feel prepared, just doing the thing, getting the experience, right? And so I feel like it might start on the internal level, but it's going to turn into, I'm just going to do the thing, right? Like, I'm just going to do the thing. Like, don't overthink it, right? So, yeah, don't get too caught up in, like, pulling out every single, like, oh, where did this belief come and where did that belief come? Don't get too caught up in that, right? I think that's a good place to start. I feel like there's some value there in realizing, oh, this is what's holding me back in the first place, and, like, why? But at the end of the day, the more important thing is that you actually just do the thing, get the experience, and trust that the value of the experience itself is worth it. And yeah, there's a sense with Embrace Your Magnificence of like, no, like you're already ready. It doesn't matter if you bomb a few times on stage, like you're still magnificent, right? And it's just, that's an opportunity for you to get anything out of the way that's blocking your magnificence, any fear or anything like that. Just get that out of the way. Almost see it as like blockages being released, right? Any bad jokes you make, any mistakes you make, quote unquote, like you're getting that out of the way of your magnificence. So just think of it as part of that process. And then we have this card here, which says, I think you know how to love better than any of us. That's why you find it all so painful. From Fleabag. Yeah, so, there might be some sensitive people in this group as well, where, like, I'm getting a jokey feeling, but I feel like deep down, if that is your vibe, I feel like deep down that hides some sensitivity, that hides some feelings of inadequacy. And those feelings, like, again, like, going back to the idea of, like there being some kind of first insult, or some part of you that got in trouble, that wasn't allowed to shine, and now is ready to be let out of its cage and back into the light. It's like that younger version of you that experienced that insult or that punishment was a really sensitive soul. And it's not bad that you felt that so deeply, or that affected you so tremendously at the time. You have grown. You are capable of handling your sensitivity in a way that is more productive for you, and understanding life and yourself in a way that helps you move past those kinds of experiences with more ease. And it's time you start trusting that about yourself. And trusting also that, like, yeah, you can learn. Like, you can be sensitive and keep your heart open and keep yourself feeling. And also you can change your relationship with that sensitivity, with your perceptiveness, with your feeling and your emotion, so that it doesn't overtake you, so it doesn't turn into a quote-unquote negative, so that you can wear it as an asset to you rather than and for some of you, maybe your sensitive side is what got you in trouble, but it's also maybe needed for some creative pursuits or some kind of healing arts that you want to go into. That sensitivity can be really valuable there, but maybe it got you into trouble in the past. I'm now getting the idea of like a child who like cries a lot or is really soft-hearted, and then people around them don't understand that. And so like you might have put that part of you in jail for a little while. It's like, no, it's time to, it's like there's something about that, there's something about that like sensitive part of you that is magnificent, that's beautiful, and is useful to you in whatever goal you're currently pursuing, or in the rest of your life as it's going to unfold from here on out. And it's time to take that part of you out of jail. It's time to be like, hey, buddy, you're a really important part of me. And actually, there's a lot left for me to learn from you. And there's a lot that you can bring to the table in this next chapter of my goal or my life or whatever it is. Yeah. And so, like, yeah, there might be some discomfort and there might be some. It's similar a bit to group 2. There's this feeling of needing to stop avoiding emotional discomfort, specifically, and allow yourself to recognize that letting yourself feel those things is not going to kill you, and putting yourself in situations where you have the potential to have your feelings hurt, to have things, not work out in the way that would make you happiest, it's not going to kill you either. And it's actually less of a big deal than you thought it was, You are not the small child that you were before. And so you can still maintain your sensitivity, but as an adult, you also know how to handle it a lot better so that it doesn't get stuck in there, so that you don't take things to heart as deeply, because you have a solid foundation of like knowing your worth and knowing that there's nothing wrong with those parts of you, right? That maybe were misunderstood at a certain point in your life by people who are just different or just not on your level. Yeah. Okay. So, last thing that's coming through is, for some of you, there's some kind of, you have like this idea of like your own limitations. It has to do with like how you help people or not being able to help people, maybe feeling helpless to help certain people in your life in some ways, whether you feel like you are not emotionally equipped to help people or financially equipped, or you're not good enough at, like, if you're actually in a healing field of some kind, you're not good enough at your skill yet to help people. But it's like, first of all, you're going to have experiences, and not all of them are going to be comfortable, and you might not feel like you're successful at all of them. But you are really good at what you do, and you do have capabilities to help people, and you are magnificent, and you have a lot of potential to explore, and you need to have experiences in order to be successful at this. So, like, trust yourself and get out there. And also, kind of circling back to this Fleabag quote, also, sometimes if you can't really help someone in your life, it's because you're not meant to help them in that way, right? So you can offer all the help that you are capable of offering, but someone else has to take that from you. And if they don't, they don't. And maybe you've had experiences where other people have not taken the help that you offered, and maybe part of you took that personally and thought it's because you don't have the ability to help them, or they don't trust you or believe in you or anything. But it had nothing to do with you and what you're capable of. It's a two-way street, and they have to make their own choices as well. And it probably has much more to do with their conception of their own capabilities and what they actually need and want. And maybe their life path is also just different than what you think it should be, or what you want it to be. And there's also that to contend with as well. So I feel like you're unpacking some of those old limiting beliefs that came from experiences that you interpreted as markers of your limitation, that you're now taking back out, re-examining, and realizing, oh, that didn't mean what I thought it meant, and it doesn't have to stop me going forward. And actually, we're gonna change that, and we're just gonna put ourselves out there again. Okay, now group 3. That's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. And if you're interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, along with hypnosis, and my mom does human design, so that's also on our website if you are interested. And yeah, that's it. So thanks again. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi Group 4, if you selected the clear quartz, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what next action that you should take, whether towards a specific goal, if you have one in mind, or just in general in your life, and we're just going to see what comes through. And as always, make sure that you tap into your own intuition and notice what resonates with you and what doesn't. Take what is for you, leave what is not, and trust that you'll know what is for you and you'll know what's not for you. So you can learn just as much as from what's for you as you can from what's not for you. So keep that in mind, keep an open mind. And yeah, we're just going to get some messages about like an offering, if you will, of what your next steps could be, especially if you're feeling stuck or stagnant in a certain area of life or just in general. So I already pre-selected your cards. I'm going to lay them out and we'll get into it. And then I'll also pull a few quote cards from my handmade quote card deck towards the end to finish things off. So let's get into it. First, we have number 43 with the 5th house, keyword passion. Then we have a tarot card from the this deck that was just given to me by my boyfriend. I love it so much. Thank you if you are watching this. I appreciate it. And this is number 16, the Tower, and it's in reverse, which is really interesting. I'll talk about it. And then from another deck that was also given to me by my boyfriend, actually, we have the Queen of Runes, which is also the Queen of Cups in the regular tarot. And then we have the Hafiz card with number 37, Unleash Your Passion. Well. Very interesting. So, okay. First of all, group 4 with 5th house, passion, and number 37, Unleash Your Passion. Clearly, we are unleashing some kind of passion here. That is your next step. That is something that you need to do. So, I have to say, I don't know. This could be in any sense. It could be something that you're, like, you might have a passion, like a thing that you're passionate about, like, that you want to do, you want to pursue, maybe creative pursuit, something like that, a career idea, a product idea. I just got, like, an invention. It could also just be, like, your passion in terms of just, like, it doesn't have to be a career path, it could be, like, things that you just love to do, that you're passionate about, just, like, embracing the concept of passion more in your life, in any area that it comes up in, right? Like, just that feeling of, like with the Tower in reverse, it's really funny because actually group number 1 also got, like, the equivalent of the Tower card in this other deck here in reverse. But it's very different messages, and this card is very different from the other Tower card that came out. It's not called the Tower in this other deck, but anyway, I digress. The point is, there is something also, there's a keyword on this Queen of Runes card, fate. We'll talk about that. So the Tower in reverse here, like, look at this bonfire, okay? There's this huge bonfire, and I feel like that's kind of like what is going on inside you, because the Tower is reversed. So to me, I'm getting, like, an internal bonfire. And because we have these other cards about passion, it's really bringing to mind for me, like, the fires of your passion, of your creative potential, wanting to break free, wanting to come out, and wanting to be released. And with the Tower being the card that's representing this, the Tower can talk about shocking changes, sudden revelations, things falling apart, things burning up. And maybe I feel like for you guys, there's this sense that maybe there's this subconscious, it could be conscious, feeling of holding back your passions because you're afraid of, like, unleashing your passion and, like, having that, like, implode something, ruin something, burn up your entire life for some of you. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but it feels a bit dramatic. Or there's a part of you that associates unleashing your passion with something destructive, which is not necessarily the case. And in fact, because your next step is to unleash your passion, like, you're being encouraged to actually do that, right? And to understand that passion does not have to be destructive. And that's where I feel like the Queen of Cups comes in here with fate. Okay, so there is a message here around you cannot avoid this. Like, you are meant to actually express yourself in some way, to let yourself off the leash in some sense, to let out your passion, to say you actually want to be, like, say, an artist of some kind, to be an artist, to be what it is that you want to be. And or just this idea that, like, it's going to come out one way or another. Like, whatever it is that you're shoving down, whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with expressing, it has to come out. Like, it's fated, And so it's just a matter of allowing it and when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen, right? And I feel like with the Queen of Cups, there's an element of, like, okay. Let me see how I can phrase this. So with passion, with these 3 cards here, all of them like passion, and then like this bonfire on the Tower card. There's a lot of fire. It's a lot of fiery energy, right? And then we have this Queen of Cups with the watery energy. And so it's telling me there's something here about tempering that fire with emotion, with watery energy. So the watery energy there's so much fire and passion here. You're not meant to like quench the fire or like put out the fire with emotion, but it's almost like you're meant to understand the relationship that like emotion has with passion and like connect the two. And it's almost kind of like, it's like if you can connect your passionate fiery energy with your emotional energy and like see how they are related and how they work together, it's like that will be the balance that you need in order for things to flow out in a way that's easier and like less quote unquote destructive. So it's like there's compassion here, there's empathy here in this Queen of Cups, and I feel like there's a gentleness, so there's a nurturing. So it's like you're meant to nurture the flames of your passions and desires and all that with emotion, with empathy, with gentleness, and take care of that fire. Okay. And passion, by the way, it can speak to creative energy, to sexual energy. I don't know if I'm allowed to like say that on YouTube anymore. It can relate to anger, right? It can be like passionate in an angry way, right? And in all of those cases, there's a force that drives you to action, right? And so it feels like you have so much like pent up passion in some way or another that it's like you're afraid to let it all out at once because you're like, that's a lot of energy, right? What am I going to do? Like, I don't know if I'm prepared for the consequences of that. But tempered with the Queen of Runes, Queen of Cups, this is showing you that you are capable of being gentle and passionate at the same time. Like you can bring empathy and generosity and kindness and nurturing to the things that you're passionate about, to the things that ignite your passion. So if it's something where you're passionate about a social cause, where it brings a lot of anger and a lot of emotion up in you, right? Like some of you are afraid of your emotions. Like you might suppress passion because it brings up a lot of emotion for you and you're afraid of that. And you're afraid of what it can do and it might feel a little overwhelming. And it's like the Queen of Runes, like Queen of Cups is like taking care of those emotions, taking care of that energy, taking care of the flame, right? So in the Tower over here, like it's this huge bonfire. But if you take care of the flame, right, then you can, you might be able to subdue it into something a little bit more, like tend to it, keep it going. It doesn't have to be a small flame. You don't have to shrink it down to embers, but you can also tend to it in a way where you can contain it, right? And manage it and take care of it and respect it. And not let it get out of hand, not let it turn into like even a bonfire is controlled in some sense, right? Like it's not a forest fire. And I feel like you don't want this to turn into a forest fire. So what you're being asked to do is to temper it with some kind of compassion, with some kind of practice around your emotional health and well-being. And I also feel like for some of you, this is potentially a very psychic group. And so it might actually be that some of this energy that's really flowing through you is of a psychic variety. The Queen of Cups can be a very psychic, intuitive person. And so there's a sense in which I feel like there's this like intuitive potential within you as well for some of you. And I feel like this might not be for everyone here, but for some of you, I feel like everyone has got intuitive potential, but like for some of you, that might be the path that you're on, and others of you that might not be. But for some of you, you're being encouraged to tap into this intuitive potential and unleash some of this. Like, it's almost like your next move and this could be for anyone here who feels drawn to this, but literally like, I am getting a sense of like an energy release. So like going to a like a Reiki practitioner, for example, someone who does energy healing, energy work, or taking an action, doing an activity that releases energy for you, right? Some kind of outlet, some kind of artistic pastime, or some kind of exercise or something like that like gets out these kinds of heavier or like really pent up emotions, this pent up passion that you have. That's also an energy release as well. So like I feel like unblocking that, letting that out, is really that's your next step basically, and it's really however you want to go about that. Because if you are afraid of like all of this energy like kind of like overtaking you at once, like one way that you can kind of channel it in smaller bits so that you are like you become less afraid of it really is to instate practices in your life that allow you to channel that energy in just like small pieces, like a daily art practice, right, where you just like do whatever you want on a canvas and you let out some of that creative energy, and maybe you don't have a specific goal in mind, and maybe it's only for like 10 minutes a day, but like you let out some of that energy and it helps like control it a little bit. Like, yeah, I don't know, there's this idea of like kind of like going a little bit at a time, right? And that might be like a good place to start, because like there is a sense of like, yeah, like unleashing yourself, like letting yourself off the leash, like not being so controlled. But it might take you some time to feel comfortable enough to do that, and it's okay to take it slow. It's okay to take it at a pace that feels comfortable for you. And I hope that makes sense with whatever your situation is. Because there is a sense of like, yes, it is safe for you to just like let loose like whatever it is that you've been holding back, whether it's some kind of creative vision or dream or desire, or some kind of like, I don't know, righteous anger on behalf of some cause that is really important to you, or anything really that you've been holding back on. It's okay to like start a little at a time, because it's gonna come out one way or another. And so you kind of get to decide like how that happens for you. And also like, I don't know, just like have fun with it. Like I feel like there's a holding back from like the full enjoyment of the experience of like expression and a feeling really. And you're meant to get more comfortable with that, with feeling passion, with feeling like, because like it's such an activating energy. It moves you. You can feel like a little taken by it, right? You might be someone who's very controlled, might have some control issues, or is used to being very in control, holding back or whatever. It's like time for you to experience the opposite, because there's also that kind of like a paradox, right, of trying to control so much that you lose control. And I kind of feel like that's where this fate is coming through as well. It's like the more you try to control this fire and like snuff it out or like keep it under wraps or whatever, the more it's going to control you, and the more likely it will come out in ways that you don't want it to come out. So if you can lean into it a little bit more, if you can embrace it more, if you can approach it with sensitivity and compassion and nurture it and pay attention to it and give it time and care, you will actually end up harnessing its power rather than like being harnessed by its power, if that makes sense. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, it's funny because like I guess I did say like, you can go to an energy healer if that calls to you, start some kind of creative outlet, or find a way to like unleash like whatever it is that you've been holding back, like slowly, like let yourself indulge a little bit more slowly, like find a way to do that. Like I'm not getting like as many specific examples because I really do feel like it will vary from person to person, like what makes sense in your situation. But like there is a way where it's like start to indulge more in this feeling, in this thing that you're afraid of getting swept up in, and like let yourself get a little swept away. You don't have to like throw yourself in head first, but like don't resist it. it's gonna happen anyway. Like, just let it happen, right? So with that being said, group 4, I'm just gonna see if there's any other messages that want to come through from these quote cards. Yeah, indulge yourself in like those feelings of like, yeah, like I just want to be, I'm just moved to this action. I'm just flowing with this like feeling that I'm experiencing, right? And just go with it. Okay, group 4. All right, any additional messages, anything else that wants to come through for group 4 from these quote cards? Okay, well that's 3 cards, but you know what? I'll take them. We do have another pile to shuffle though, so let's see if there's anything else for group 4. Group 4. What other messages do we have? Anything else for group 4? I kind of want to keep that one. All right, well, we will do a quick shuffle. See if anything else wants to come out. Anything else for group 4 that wants to come out? Anything else for group 4? I'll just shuffle like a couple more times. You already have plenty of cards. Anything else for group 4? So you see, like, there's like a lot that wants to come out for you, like, because there's a lot that wants to come out of you. I don't know if it's like self-expression, words, art, ideas, emotions. Let it out. Anything else? Okay. We'll take all 4 of these. All 5 of these. All right, don't tell the other groups. You got a lot of cards here, and it just is what it is. So first we have this card here with, I don't think you have to be alone to be lonely, from Fleabag. I feel like some of you might feel a little bit alone in your experience of like, because you're suppressing yourself so much that like, there's so much that you're holding back that you can't like, that there's this idea of like something that needs to be expressed and shared. And if you're holding it back so much, it can be a lonely feeling. You can feel like a little bit alone in that process because there's a vulnerability, right, to allowing yourself to be taken by like passion and like just like letting yourself like go with the flow of the emotions and just like have fun with whatever you're doing and get really invested in it, right? Because like it's like this feeling of like it, you feel like if you get caught up in the moment and then after the moment's passed, right? So maybe you get caught up in the moment and you like make this really impassioned speech, or you act a little too silly and make like a lot of jokes at a party or something like that, or you get really excited about a piece of art that you made and you share it in the heat of the moment, and then that moment passes and then you like regret it, right? And you're like, oh, like was that, and you have that like, like was that the wrong thing? Like, was that silly? Did I look stupid? And then you like question yourself. It's like, instead of just being in that moment with that feeling and like, and enjoying it, and like, then it's like you're afraid of like the consequences afterwards of like overthinking it, or like, oh man, like I went too far, I let it get too far, questioning yourself. And it's like, but there's a part of you that really wants to share, I think, with other people. And I think in a lot of cases, whatever it is that we're talking about has to do with like other people in some way, some capacity, like, or sharing some part of yourself with another person, with other people, or whatever. So like, yeah, there's like a loneliness in what you're holding back right now, and one way out of that is to stop holding back. Yeah. Okay. We have this card here with love is not quantifiable and therefore not finite, from Anne with an E, quote by Miss Stacy. Love is not quantifiable and therefore not finite. Oh, yeah, you know what? It's like you're holding so much back because it's like, I feel like you have so much love to give in this situation, whatever it is, to whatever it is that you're passionate about. It's like the root of this passion is love. And it's like, it feels so expansive and like so overwhelming because it is infinite. It's not quantifiable. And I feel like there's this, you need to like, you're being encouraged to take a gentler eye, to have a gentler eye when it comes to looking at this part of you, because I feel like you need to see that it's coming from a place of love and from a place of like having a lot to give and a lot to share and a lot to express, and like, yeah, and it's coming from a place of love, and it's not quantifiable. It's not finite, and that's okay. And actually that's kind of beautiful. And so like, yeah, like you might feel like you need to hold back on how much you love things, how much you feel about things, how much you care about things. But no, it's beautiful to have a lot to give, a lot of feeling, a lot of care, a lot of emotion, a lot of whatever. We have this card as well, which says, every intelligent individual wants to know what makes him tick, and yet is at once frustrated and fascinated by the fact that oneself is the most difficult of all things to know. I don't know why I wrote thinks there, but sure. Quote from Alan Watts. Yeah, so I feel like there's a getting in your head. So whatever is holding you back from, like, yeah, there's this, because like, okay, like the feeling of passion to me is like very physical. It's not very heady. You like go with the vibe, the flow, the emotion, the feeling, and you just create with that, and you have an experience with that. You express your emotions with that, and you just kind of go for it, right? And like, yeah, of course, that can be tempered with some logic. Like, yes, okay, like a bonfire can turn into something destructive if it turns into a forest fire. But again, there's an element of like being able to tend to that fire, to care for it, to have compassion for it, to nurture it, and know that you have complete control over that. And also, like, it's okay to give in to control, and like, yeah, you're just like afraid of like giving up control, and like you might be very like analytical or in your head about like the things that you're passionate about, and so it's like you don't fully allow yourself to just be in that feeling in that moment. And like, yeah, it's time for you to learn how to do that. You know, you don't have to let it run wild, but once again, like, the more you start to engage with that emotion, the less it controls you, and the more that you realize that you have control over it, and like it's not as destructive or as dangerous as you thought it would be, as you made it out to be in your head. You might have like some kind of like memory or some experience when you're younger that you remember or don't remember, where you feel like you gave into like your passions a little bit, or you followed your passions and it didn't work out in the way you wanted to, and that could be causing you some hesitation. We had a little bit of a message like that coming through in another group as well. But regardless, like, yeah, you're just like really in your head about it, and this is something that you're not meant to be too heady about, you know? You're just kind of like meant to go with it. Like there's just like this feeling that needs to come out. And then we have this, okay, so this is like a sprout. In my head it's like growing up, like it's about to like break the ground or whatever. Yeah, like there's something that's like growing that needs to like, it needs room and space to grow. And this says, creativity, like human life itself, begins in darkness. And then we have this bonfire in the darkness. Yes. And it's internalized. Yes. So you've got so much like of this pent up energy, creativity, whatever it is, growing in the darkness, needs to be let out. And once again, it doesn't have to all come out at once. You can be controlled about it, but you have to start acknowledging it, tending to it, and letting it come out. And like just go with the flow, go with the feeling. Don't think so much. And then we have this card here. We remember the good times and the bad ones, forgetting that most times are neither good nor bad. They just are. From The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, I think a lot of you like have, for a long time, consciously or not, labeled your creative urges, your passionate urges, things like related to just like letting go and like feeling free and like letting yourself really feel emotions and things like that. Like, I feel like for a long time you've labeled that as like a bad thing or a bad part of you, or a like, I don't know, like you don't want to give into the like temptation of like, yeah, you just like, it's like you villainized maybe that aspect of yourself or that aspect of life experience, and you're being asked to come to a place of more neutrality where you understand, and maybe even if you do have experiences where you sort of like learn to see yourself as bad for like just giving into your passions and going for this thing or for that thing, like you're learning to stop labeling that experience and stop making it mean things like, oh, I shouldn't do this, or I should keep this hidden, or I should keep this inside. Like you're learning to start to be more neutral about that kind of thing, and to see things more for what they are, as opposed to like seeing things through a lens of like an old, outdated belief system, or something that holds you back. Yeah, that and yeah, there's like a moralizing here that I feel like you're recovering from. You're recovering from like a sort of black and white thinking where you're like, oh, I'm either good or I'm bad, and I have to be good. So anything that's bad about me, like any of these impulses that might be bad because they're not aligned with, like, I don't know, the career path that my family wants for me, or the belief system that I was brought up in, like I can't allow those to overtake me because that's is bad, you know? And you're learning to neutralize that, and you're learning to see it in a different way, and you're learning to not punish yourself by suppressing yourself, which really is like ultimately what's happening here is like there's like this suppression that you're being asked to start to relinquish, and you can do that however you want to go about it. There's a lot of different ways that you can channel whatever this energy is that you're suppressing, and I do feel like you know what it is, and it's probably going to be different for everyone. And I feel like I think a lot of you actually know what it is that you need to do or want to do. It's just a matter of giving yourself permission to do it, to start, to try it, you know, to maybe even try a few different things and see if they work for you. And I'm keeping it very vague here because honestly, like, I do feel like it's really different for a lot of you. Like, it's really just, it's whatever you've been suppressing, whatever you're passionate about that you've had trouble, like, letting out, or that you're afraid to. I keep hearing Rhiannon by what the fuck, what are they called? It's like literally, it's not, Stevie Nicks is in the band. I'm blanking on the name of the band for some reason. Anyway, you probably know what it is. Anyway, but there's like the line that's like, all his life he's never seen a woman taken by the wind. Yeah, so like that line, taken by the wind, it's like, let the wind take you. Let like yourself be taken by the wind, by the primal forces of creativity that are within you, that want to come out, you know, whatever that is for you, however that speaks to you. You know, like let loose a little bit, let your hair down. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Yeah. Show all this like infinite creativity and passion and emotion and feeling and whatever else that you've got inside you. Like it's beautiful. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you, group 4. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you are interested in doing so. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. So yeah, that would make my day if you want to leave a comment. And if you're interested in personal readings, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. Link is in the description. And we also do hypnosis, and my mom does human design services. So you can check those out, again, at our website. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!